hell? Video device captures now, capturing that. That's going to be interesting. Right, where am I at? Where is Maya? Why are we not loading up? Hang on a minute. Let me have a look. Oh, there we go. Right, fine, fair enough. So hopefully this isn't going to get affected that much. So basically, whilst I drink my brew, I'm going to finish this room off because there isn't much left to do. Camera data is already there. Then all I'm going to do is just throw in the boundary data. That took a while to get out. And then onwards and upwards, it's just getting all this exported out, put it up on our project little folder, and then that room's done, and then carry on to the next one. I might start the next room, but it depends how long it takes me to get the boundary data implemented for this. See, the funny thing is, I do know how to do all of the other data. I know how to do it all in terms of certain things. Don't mind me rambling this. I'm just trying to figure stuff out. There is something. Why? Because it's like I have that, and then too often I'm doing it. It's like I've just apparently added input for audio from the webcam, but it's using the USB the USB microphone I got plugged in. But it's not using the filter apparently. Why the hell? I think I'm going to have to do a complete OBS overhaul. I mean that as well. I think I'm going to have to do like a whole... I'm going to have to do like a whole like bloody thing. Anyway, I'm rambling, but basically what I'm going to be doing, like I said, is going to finish off this room because it doesn't need that much left to do. Do the boundary data for it, which won't take me that long. And then export all that out, and then that's done, and then potentially start the next room on this stream. I just need to get my head in gear and figure out which room that's going to be. Like I already mentioned before, I could do all the other data for this. I practically wrote a tutorial on how to do room data shit. But I don't want to do all that work because I find it too fiddly. So I'm not going to sit there and do the entirety RVD data. I'm not going to start putting all the trigger zones in. I'll leave that to Elric to do. And as much as I hate saying it, that way, I just don't have the patience to do this. I've got to do all the room data as it is at the moment. So I'd just rather concentrate on getting all that done, get the cameras in position, and if none of them work, I can go back and tweak it. But anyway, that's what I'm going to be doing now, along with getting this room finished. And why is this not going all the way up? And I'm just deciding I'm sticking with this bloody thing here. It just, you know, I've shown this off, but it just fits perfectly by having that there. Because I've already mentioned, like, you can put about 4 or 5 zombies in that one area. That's why I've kind of had to fill it up with stuff just to make it feel a little bit more busy, is the word I call it, in any room I work on. I try and make it more busy by putting more crap in the room. So then there's more boundary collisions that characters have to walk or run behind, and it just gives you that much more space that's being used. So there might only be able to be 3 zombies in there. If we decide to put 3 zombies in there, I need to really look into it. But then again, we'd have to like debug it and test and stuff like that whilst we're working on it. But that's for another time. It's getting the rooms bloody done first. So... oh, I need to do them as well. They won't take me long. In fact, I can probably grab those from here. I'm still not happy with the way those textures look, because it just looks like they're embedded into it. I might have to get a different bloody texture applied. If I do the same one at the walls, it just doesn't look bloody right. So, that I still need to do a bit more detailing on those. But for getting the renders in, getting all the room data in, it's easier to do it that way now. Then at least it's done, and then I don't need to bloody sit there and panic about it. It's all done. I just have to do some tweaking and stuff, and that's usually what happens with renders. It's not like it has to be perfect the first time round when I'm doing it, because we'll be going back and tweaking this at some point. And I'm never happy with anything I bloody build anyway, so let me just yeah, get rid of that. You're not going to see it. Gives me a bit more time to render stuff. Right. Now, what am I going to texture bloody you then? That's the question. I suppose I could go with a bit of wood. I suppose I could go with... Did that as metal though? That'd be just too freaking stupid. That'd be just too ornate. Let's see. Let's just see what it looks like first. Let me just see if by going a bit mental with the bloody texturing it doesn't help. Let's just have a look. So I'll just do that. Let's use that one. Might as well do this. And then just got blush there done. Without the sound effects. I don't know why I'm doing this, because it's not like I need to worry about people running up to it up close. It's not like you're going to be able to do it. I mean, unless I'm so crazy enough to think, oh, well, put all these into an engine and do it that way. But no, I think that'd be a bit too much. Right, let's see how this looks. Whilst I drink my brew. So that don't look too bad. I think the better thing would be to just add like a wooden bit at the top. Because again, I'm going into like territory that has no territory, because that's not even in the game itself. It's not even in the room. But I just feel that it just is a bit too empty for what it should be. And when that happens, you know, I start going a bit mad. I start coming up with ideas. It's like, right, well, let's do that, because it just feels better than it just being like a bloody big blob of nothingness. Let's see. So I could have that at the top there, like that. Why not? Why not go for a bit of ornate metal? I mean, it is supposed to be a luxurious ship, isn't it? So, oh yes, it's got gold beams. They had that kind of money, Umbrella. They had that much money, they could just like smelt gold beams into a bloody ship. We'll go with that. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's just get these finished, right. Might as well do optimization here. I don't need to worry about that one. I can remove the back because you're not going to see these. I don't know why I'm doing all this. It's like, pre-rendering wise, I don't need to worry too much about like how these assets are going to turn out, because the pre-rendered, they're not actually going to be used in-game in real time. But I guess it's just because I'm a stickler and I've been doing modelling like this for years. It's like second nature, it's all built in. And that's all I can really say on it, because that's all I can really, you know, mention it as. Let's get all this in. So yeah, it's just literally finishing it all up. There isn't a lot left to do until I start doing like all the boundary collisions, but that won't take me long either. Then that'll be another room scratched off, and it's the other side of the ship. Because I've already done more or less, like I said, all of the west side of this floor. I just need to do a couple of rooms in there, and I've kind of given the library a wide berth for now, because I'm still debating whether we should make that a two-story library. And I know we've said yes to it, but I need to know if I'm going to need to expand the bloody size of it a little bit and make it bigger. And I know I've already come up with issues with this for expanding stuff and realising that stuff's going to look absolutely goddamn obscure. Because with regards to the way the sprites work, you're not really seeing everything. I went over that on the last stream. I'm not going to ramble about it now, but suffice to say that this room's just too big for what it should be. But again, coming from an 8-bit sprite to turning it into a 3D pre-rendered environment for a 32-bit game, stuff obviously has to change. Why is that like that? Right, I'm going to do some adjustments with you, am I? Not many adjustments, just changing that door there. Right, so they're all done. Also, I might have to go back and redo some of these camera angles at some point. It just depends how it looks when I've done all this. I don't think it looks too bad, but then again, that's just me. That's me saying it. A lot of people would say otherwise. I'm just gonna quickly do these. Because I'm lazy. Not in a bad way. It's just when you're looking at some of this stuff, it's like, it doesn't technically matter what it's going to look like. Because again, pre-rendered environment. I don't have to worry too much about it. But on the other hand, I'm a stickler for detail. So 9 times out of 10, I'll probably go back and be like, right, I'm going to redo all this, but I'm going to do it properly. Proper optimization and all that. Because that's just the way I am. I'm a very stickler for that kind of thing. I like to make it so everything can run buttery smooth in whatever engine it can go in. Even though, again, pre-renders. I just need to take a break from trying to do too much. But then again, that's just me in a nutshell. Do that and then just do that again. Right. I will have to probably put my lamp on in a minute. So yeah, my internet went down yesterday. Well, not just mine, like the whole areas went down for a few hours, so I needed to wait for everything to resync, otherwise I'd have done this yesterday. So luckily today, touch wood, it should be fine. But then again, most of the bloody time, you think something's fine, and then stuff just starts hitting the fan quite a lot. That's that way, isn't it? That's that way. Alright, let's have a quick gander now. I've got all that done. I mean, technically, I still need to do some of the stuff at the top as well. So it's like all that very ornate detail I've got to do. So I'll just grab that from I think it's from the main hall. I think they've got it, and then I just need to dump that in because that's like at the very, very top of the room. 102,000 already, but then again, that's because it's not optimized and it's. So in these rooms, I think the highest one I did, and that was with Resident Evil 3 Revisited, and that was like, I think it was 700,000 polygons. And that's the highest it's ever gone, and that's only purely because of the fact it had trees in, because it was one of the areas in the park. So I'm glad we're not using trees in this, because obviously it's on a ship. It would be very weird if there was bloody plants, apart from obviously ones that are in plant pots that are, you know, set around the deck, fair enough. But I'm just glad I'm not doing actual trees. I'm not doing any kind of like urban environment. It's just all concrete, wood, glass, more wood that you can shake a stick at. Steel and rivets. I mean, I'll go with that. I'll take all the steel and rivets over, you know, like a park any bloody day. That's just me in a nutshell. Right, I'm gonna go over to the main hall. Save what we got. I'm trying to remember if I did it on here or not. No, I didn't do it here. Oh, bugger. Right. 2F elevator hallway. So I'm trying to do it in a way that no one can see what I'm doing. So I'm kind of like try to keep it at a distance. Well, I didn't do it in there either. Alright. Okay. Well, then I won't do it in this room either. What the hell was I on about? Alright. Save. Wait, let me just check this. I'm pretty sure I did. Let's have a look. It does have those little frilly bits on the top. I'm not going mad, am I? Right, I know that second floor hallway doesn't. Excuse me. But that does, so why did I not put it in? Oh well, I will completely not do it in this one then. I'll just carry it on. Might as well stick with what the hell I'm bloody doing. Right. So if I'm not doing that, that means this room's done. So now I can do... I need to fill that hole in the bloody wall. It's going to irk me otherwise. That one. Not you. Yeah, drag you into there. And I'm just going to drag that down because, again, you just drag it to there. And I'm just going to do that. Definitely going to put my lamp on in a minute. Right, so that's done. Now, do I need to move this bloody roof down anymore? Or is it fine? Not there, but I think I need to move that. If I'm right, it doesn't have these bits, does it? Or have I just made it too bloody short? I think I made that too bloody short. Hang on. Maybe just move these up a bit. Boop. And done. Okay, so that's done. Right, so now that that room's all done, I think I'm going to have to add one more camera in because it's going to drive me bloody mad otherwise. So, camera 6. I'll do an up close one on this one here. Let's have a look. Because you can see this one here, but then you can't see that one. And sometimes I always go a little bit mad with the cameras themselves, and I won't get as many places for them to be. So then what happens is I have to go back and re-add cameras in for angles and stuff. And I always do this. I have a habit of doing it. I might make that straight on actually. Just pull it back a little bit. But yeah, the idea is these cameras will go straight into the game. I won't need to tinker with them or anything. That's fine. I need to get a green light on the top of the door as well before I do anything. Before I do anything else, before I go absolutely crazy, like I have a habit of doing, and I'll move that light just a little bit, and I don't know if I should decrease that. Right. Close the cameras off and lock them in the way. Right, so what I'm going to do is just going to bung an emergency exit light in there, but I'll just leave it as a bloody green sign, I suppose, or just like a green light. God, I'm so bloody... Thing of it is, I've got the textures for it, I just can't be bothered with it. And I don't think I can make it work like that I want it to, so what I'm going to do is give me a Lambert, make it green, and then I'm going to just do a bit of incandescence on it. Let's see how that works. no, it's not going to work, is it? I hate it when it does this, because incandescence makes things really bright, but if you do too much of it, it just makes it pure white, it doesn't make it green. So then what I have to bloody do is see if I do like 0.2, no, 0.25. Sounds like a bit of a glow to it. Alright then, 0.50. Not 500. My God. Alright, let's just do a 0.500 for shits and giggles, because I know exactly what's going to happen. It's just going to absolutely blind people. Oh, well, maybe not. Making I see. Let me figure it out. Alright, let me just change it to like a 0.150. Make it a little bit darker. Not render a region. Not rendering a region. I want to render the entire bloody thing. What do you think this is? 1996? Also, what I might do is make that a little bit transparent. Not too much. Oh, it's too dark. He says it's too dark. Can't see my bloody keyboard. Right, let's have a look from another angle. Start camera 5. So look, camera 5. Oh, that's the bathrooms, isn't it? Camera 5. So what camera is that for then? Yeah, it's camera 4. Perfect. Yeah, now I can see why I've got this issue with the bloody glow thing. Not that one, I think it's that one in it, and I think it's under mesh control, or is it tangent space? Big mesh? No, it's render stats in it, so I don't want it to cast a shadow. All kinds of different things you got to do. All these little things you got to tweak as you're working. I really don't like that thing glowing like that. I think I'm going to have to get rid of the bloody glow intensity on it. Only thing is, that means it won't bloody work as well as I want it to. Still some things I'm trying to master. And if I can... This is either going to go absolutely horrible or it's not. Have a look. It's going to probably be really green on that wall. Shouldn't be really piddling around with render settings and stuff, because we could do this later on. It's just getting a case of it looking as good as I can. I'm just going to put it out that way. Just give it a pull out and then just be done with it. And then just start doing the collision stuff, because I want to get that done. I know I've done it on stream a while back, but it's always interesting when you do that kind of thing. With regards to doing all of this data that you need to see in game and how it all works. Because like I said, these tools I'm using are specifically built for creating room data. and custom angles and custom room data and everything else, you know, to do with that. So might as well do it now. Well, I've got it all done. I already mentioned that this big cube here, this like plane that's split into 4, is the entire game space that a single room can use in the game. So if you go anywhere off of there, off of these edges here, nothing works, because that's the entire area that you can have one room with all the cameras, the boundary collisions and all that kind of stuff going on. So I'm going to do collisions now. I'm just trying to figure out which one I should import. So I'm going to be working with SCA data. Go with the beginning one actually. So SCAs and cam minutes, collisions. That gives me something to work with. So yeah, you can probably figure out from the collisions right there that that's the starting point of scenario A. So Kendo's gun shop's there, burning trucks there, running up the streets, cars, all that. It's amazing how you can look at a room without any of the renders in it, and you can tell straight away what it is because you've looked at the collision data that many times. So, but yeah, this is basically what collision data is. I'll explain a little bit more about it now. Collision data is basically SCA. It's basically how the character can walk on a 2D plane, like on a 2D image, like in the game. So what you've got like invisible boundary blocks, which is what these are, and each one's got like a specific ID attached to it. So each one works differently depending on what the ID is for the boundary. So like basic boundaries, something like, you know, your standard cube, your cylindrical boundaries, you've got like your pyramid type, and you've got like rotated cubes as well, but they all come under a certain ID. So you'd think like the labs later on, they've got like a load of different like rotated cubes for boundary collision with an ID for that, because obviously they're on a slant when you're walking around because of their structure. So it's the same for these. But they also have certain IDs attached to them, which is what I was still trying to figure out years ago when I was doing distant memory stuff. We had an idea, well, we had a boundary with an ID, and I can't remember what the ID was, but for some reason how it worked was you could run through the boundary, but when you tried to run back through, it blocked you, and we could never figure out what the hell the ID was for that, and we couldn't figure out why it was doing that. That became like a question mark unknown in terms of the boundary ID. And then there was another one where you'd run up, but it was like a gradient in terms of how the strength of how strong the collision was as you're running up. Because the further you got up the collision, the like quicker it started to dissolve, so you could like run around it, as opposed to it just being a block, so you'd be hitting it. So there's a lot of interesting stuff I've learned with like looking at these boundaries and running around with them in game over the years. But some of them, I never did quite get my head wrapped round of how the hell they actually worked, and that was obviously those two I just mentioned. Like, how do you have a boundary that you can run through and then it run back in? You can't get in the boundary because it's blocking you. And again, when you've got like a gradient, as I call it, because it just like works like a gradient, it starts off stronger and it gets weaker as you go up. How the hell does that work? Because you'd assume every boundary would be blocked and would block a certain thing, so you couldn't walk through it at all. So whether it's like for enemies or something like that, but then they've got a whole bunch of stuff here. But you could actually, like, in terms of scripting that the game engine uses and the room data it uses, you can actually use these collision blocks to move them around in 3D space in the game. And one of the examples I always use, and it's the one I always point out, is like, well, two basically, because it's right at the start of the game. Kendo's gun shop, when the zombies break in on that predetermined event, it's already got a collision block in front of the windows. Zombies break in, that collision block gets moved. Zombies can then jump in, start eating, and the block goes back. So it's giving the impression that they came through the window, but it isn't. And then obviously the other one is the basketball court. Obviously when you're running past that, you've got the door in, you know, the metal door in the thing, the grated door. And obviously as you run past and go up to the gun shop van where the bullets are for it. The zombies break that door open. It's actually not like that at all, though. It's just all because it's scripted. So basically, how that works is that doors, you'd have a collision in it. You know, like how we like with standard stuff in this day and age, every like door will have like a static mesh attachment to it, so that you can physically touch it. If you're doing stuff in VR development, it will physically stop you from moving. It's like the same in like any like in any engine, like Unreal and what have you. Every like door or anything's got like a skeletal structure, you know, like a static mesh attachment to it. So you know when you try to move, it won't move. But the old AM engines like this, they don't have that capability. So that door, the little grated door that gets pushed up by the zombies, is not actually a physical static mesh. You can walk through that. But because there's a block, a collision block, an SCA block that's specifically behind it, it gives the impression that you can't walk through it because it's like a static mesh. And what happens is when you obviously trigger that event, that moves the block, the door gets pushed open, the zombies come out, and then obviously you keep thinking that, well, this is what I thought back then, is that was a full static mesh, and that's why you couldn't walk through it. It had nothing to do with years later when you're looking into this, and it's to do with the way the SCD data controls the SCA data, which is your collision data. So all this collision stuff that I'm implementing here now in this room, we could adjust it. We can modify it to do certain things with the cutscene. We can literally use the scripting data inside of the, you know, the RDT, the SCDs to adjust and move these as we need to. So again, enemies jumping through a window. Best example again when you're going for Resident Evil 2, the original, when the shutters are up in scenario A and the zombies get through the window. Again, they're moving the boundary out. The zombies getting through these boundaries and then they fill them back in after the event's ended so that you can't walk back through it or the enemy can't go through it. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on that you don't see. And I suppose that's a reason why, you know, we do this stuff and why I have a firm interest in it. I'm rambling, but that's basically what it is. So again, all these, you can control them with the scripting data. And that's how you get windows being broke. It's how enemies can get through a door, even though the door's, you know, preventable from doing it. Whether they do this in the remake or Zero, I can't tell you because we've never really looked into how scripting data works in those games. But I would have to assume it still uses the same sort of ideology that you can like move boundary collisions so that enemies can look like they're coming through a window, but they're not. I mean, I suppose if the expression is if it isn't broken, don't fix it, and keep going with it for whatever the remake and Zero did. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. That's just my ramble for today because I always repeat myself with these, you know, what is boundary data? What is collision data? And this is, you know, the crux of it and what it does. So obviously when I export all this out, because I already know this is all going to work, soon as, like, you know, we get this in engine, all these collisions will act like they're supposed to, but a lot of like adjustments will have to be made to them for ID purposes so that the characters just don't run through them. Because again, we haven't got the right correct ID, and that's another thing I learned as well. And it's so freaking weird, which is why I still haven't figured out why to this day it does it. But say you take one boundary block that you know works on one side, it means you can't walk through it. So you can't walk through a wall that's been shown in a render, for example. But say you duplicate that with the exact ID and you move it acrosswards to the other side of the room to do it as another blocker. Sometimes that wouldn't work. You just walk through it. So I don't know how IDs actually worked. Because you'd assume that if it has one ID, it should just work for every area that you build. But for some reason, some of them don't work like that. So you can just literally run through them, but they'll work on the other side. It's just weird like that. So again, that's another reason why I don't do full-on room data anymore, because it just drives me bloody mad. So now I've rambled on about that, I'm just going to carry on with this. Right, so basically what I need to point out with this stuff is, because even though it is collision data, you'd think, because it's a 3D app like Maya, we can just do the scale and that would work. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, as I learned many eons ago when you do it. So what my friend had to do with these tools. Because, again, we never really got that far with these. Because, again, we worked on that project for Distant Memories for a few years. We finally got ready to do additional tools and then do additional rooms. And then we had custom rooms that we could do. We never did figure out the entirety of what the SCD and SCAs do. We just took a stab at it and started doing it. So what you've got here is like these tools allow me to adjust the width and height in here, like so. And that's how you do it, because if we try and do it the scaling way, it actually breaks the collision data when it exports out. So that's why I have to do it this way. And I know it sounds stupid me saying it, but that's how it works. I can move them around freely. I just don't think they can be moved out of the area where the game space is, because it just breaks everything if I try and do that. But I already mentioned beforehand that you can't really go out of space of anything here, because the game won't interpret it at all. It'll be asking where the hell stuff is, and then it'll break, and then you'll get the horrible pausing phase that it has, where it freezes and then it breaks, and it's like Resident Evil 2 has encountered an error. But I had that happen a few more times, and that wasn't even with collision data, that was just with custom characters, with not liking the texture a certain way, and I had to go back and rethink that whole bloody thing. That's a whole different story for another time. So, again, so this collision block here, it's obviously going to be blocking this side of the walls up, so your character won't be able to walk through them. I'll take this one here and just drag that here. Just so an FYI, you don't really need to know about the height. I think the height's only for like the licker or any kind of enemy like that in game. But since there's no lickers in this game, it doesn't really matter. But basically, I assume that the reason, if it's like in terms of height for these collision blocks, it's for enemies that obviously need to use the walls. So I'd assume like the spiders and the logic that the lickers use, because they crawl along the walls and on the ceiling. And I assume that that's why if you ever have like collisions with a very high height, that's the reason why. But again, I wouldn't know. I've never really delved into that side of things that much. We never got the chance to. And that's not my area. Like, my area of expertise is all the room creation and stuff, and just making it so we can walk around these rooms. So, to give it credit though, with the boundary blocks, if you have them like clash over, it doesn't actually do anything wrong with them. It doesn't like have a spit of an error, spit out its dummy, like I can't do that because you've got colliding with this. They can actually collide with each other. But I try to avoid that, primarily because, again, I'm a stickler for just trying to keep everything as. So again, even though these are very low, they will cover that entire wall. Which is weird when you look at it, because if you ever do 3D stuff, and you were to put this in Unreal as a static mesh, and you have this as your collision block, and you could literally jump over there, because obviously it wouldn't be blocking this. But since we're not in Unreal, we don't have to worry about that. So yeah, rambling as I do. Let's just carry on with this and get this all sorted out. No, I'll use that one there. I'll just... Thing is, if I run out of like collision blocks and stuff, I can actually just duplicate special for this and it will work. I just can't remember what the limit is for how many collisions you can have per room. There is probably going to be a limit, but I've never had to go over the limit or go in any kind of limit. So there's that. So there's that done. If you're wondering why I'm just not letting that go like all the way alongwards, it's because of these like indentations here. So I want to be able to match those indentations up the boundaries, so you can like fit in the corner here in game, rather than it just being like pure flat against the wall. So there's that. I'll use you actually. So again, grab that, change the depth a bit. Be good if we can get that depth to be perfect. So like I say, I can clash it with the geometry of the actual mesh because it's not going to affect it at all. Because again, this is all collision data. Not really too bad actually. I just need to push it to there and change the width on it a little bit though. That's just about right, isn't it? No, it's silly. Just change the depth a bit, push that back a bit. So that's fine. But yeah, you can't just like obviously build all the way around it with one collision block and then have that cover everything, because it wouldn't work. There wasn't a collision block in the engine back then that would do that. Everything has to be done separately. So that's why I'm doing it all in segments, as you can see, because that's how the collisions work in this game. So all these corners of the walls and that have to be all separate boxes. We can't just go, right, build, extrude, 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 and that's a collision done, because it wouldn't recognise it. It wouldn't recognise it as an official block because there's no such SCA data as that. And we can't just add and create our own SCA data. And we couldn't do that until we get the bloody source code for these games, or failing that, you know, build our own bloody engine using the source code and reverse engineer every freaking thing we've learned. Which is what a lot of people are doing. Lately. Drag that one there, that one can be the back of that wall. I'll just leave it like that. God, I am being lazy today. But then this is how you do things. This is how you do stuff and things. No, don't start pilling around. I'm not doing that. Let me grab my SCAs. I need to change that. Drag it up against there. Drag you out. Drag that into there. So again, it doesn't matter about the like height of these, but for, you know, what it is, like an Elric can look at this sort of stuff when he gets hold of this, and he can just look at it, see what needs to be adjusted. Because the thing is, like I said, I could do everything with these rooms in terms of putting the camera data in, the camera trigger data, putting the zones in, but that's the fiddliest thing. And the thing about that, in comparing it to like the engine in game when you've exported all these, when you export it out, the data actually flips. So I'd have to like do it all in my head reverse in order to get it all correct, and then it would flip it back out after I export it, and that's why, I mean, it's just too fiddly for me. It just drives me nuts. So otherwise I do all of the camera triggers as well, because the way the camera triggers work is you've got your zone, which shows like how much you can see in a room. So like when you're doing puzzles, for example, and you have like a puzzle event and you're looking at like putting something in a room in a puzzle, like example, the emerald and the is it the blue sapphire in Resident Evil 3, when you put them in the City Hall clock to get into the City Hall area, it always has like an up close to an angle, and when you put one of the objects in, you can see that object. How RVD data works in terms of that, in terms of like region, and how it works is you can basically show as much and as less as you want by adjusting like the position of where that is. So the longer you have it, the more you see. The for like the less you got is more up close, so only you can see that sort of stuff. So that works like in puzzles, when you put an object in in an area, you can see it in the camera. Whereas if you were to push that further a distance, you'd be able to see everything in the other way, like in the vicinity and everything else. So that's how you can show like less enemies and more enemies. And then obviously you got your triggers for your cameras that go. You got one in front, and then obviously that goes to wherever the next one is. So say 0, 0 to 0, 1. But then you need a trigger in front of that one, so it goes from 0, 1 to 0, 0. So when you walk through it, it triggers the camera to go back. And that's a fiddly pain in the ass as well, especially again when you're working with data and you got to know exactly where the coordinates are in space, because if you bugger one of them up, it won't work. It doesn't load up the camera, and if you do it with the visual aspect of it, again, like moving the position so it's like shorter along, you bugger that up in one area and you get it wrong in terms of the coordinates, it won't load it up. You'll be just walking in infinite space and your character disappears, because again, it's the way the data arrays, it's specific, it has to be done a specific way, which is why I don't do all of it, because it would drive me bloody mad doing it. God, I sound terrible saying that, don't I? But it's true, it does drive me mad. Right, so let's just get this stuff in here. I think I've covered all the... Well, no, I haven't, have I? I tell a lie, I haven't covered all of it yet. Let me do this. Yeah. Right, so get me that. I want to scale the depth a bit and scale the width a bit. Just plug that in. Yeah, I can get away with that actually. So if I just push, not the depth, push the width a bit. Again, it doesn't matter if it clashes a little bit with that, because it'll let you do it. So that's that bit covered, it's covered that, and then obviously I need to put another cube there, and that'll cover that one. Don't worry, I'm not running out of cubes or anything, no. I can, like I say, create, excuse me, a whole new set of them just by doing it. I've just completely... No, I know what I was saying. I'm just going to be doolally. So what happens when people bloody do that. Right, so... Again, if I need to do, like, duplications and stuff, you'd think using a duplicate command would work, but it doesn't work with these. It has to be specifically done, so you have to, like, duplicate special. That's the command in Maya to do it. And that will give you another element of this with all of, like, the data it needs. Because again, the way these tools work is I can do all of this in Maya and just export it out in real time, and it will repack it back into the room data. So you can just repack it in and you can just run around it in game. And then it's just a case of tweaking it and then exporting, re-importing and all of that. So whereas like a lot of tools that people use don't have this kind of capability, there's a whole lot of freedom I have with this, because I can just build as I'm working on the backgrounds and then just compile all the collision data and just go, there's all that crap, go and put it in game, test, do all ID chest, you know, adjustments, etc. Blah, 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 done. So there's quite a lot of flexibility with these tools. The other problem is stairs, because we never did figure out them. Oh, I like a way to visually represent the data, because those IDs are weird as hell. Look at me rambling about ID data and everything. It's like they're the weirdest bloody things, because you'd assume with a set of steps, like in any game engine, they would be represented as a set of steps, because that's how your character climbs up them, doesn't it? But it isn't. It's a bloody rectangle with a cube that basically says this is how many steps the character goes up, and it's at this sort of rotation. And in order for them to go up like further flights of stairs or some other obscure crap that I can remember off the top of my head, in order for it to go up like another flight but on a different angle, you've got to rotate that cube specifically. Otherwise, you go the other way. It's weird as hell. Stairs are just a weird bloody concept in those games, because you'd assume that collision data would be like a set of steps that your character would go up, but it's just one big cube of a height. And it just basically says this is how many steps the character's going to go up, and this is where this should land in position to it. And I suppose that's when you need like boundaries that are much higher up, because then your character's going to just stand up and walk onto that after climbing off the steps and land on that particular floor boundary. So again, it's all bloody crazy stuff, working with boundaries and steps, which is why I don't do them. That's my limit. If I had to look at those sort of things, I probably would scream. It's not a joke or an exaggeration either, that. I just don't like steps. They drive me mad. Yeah. So I'll just adjust that a bit. So this is why I find this engine a bit too bloody cumbersome for me. I don't like the primitivity of it. And this is when people start saying, oh, it's a very primitive engine. Why don't you just, like, go into a different, program like Unity or anything like that where you don't have these limitations? And some people just love the limitations of the bloody SCD. And then Elric's, like, saying at the moment, like, oh, well, anything's possible as long as you've got a big imagination for it. And I'm just thinking when he's saying this, I'm like, yeah. How about we just don't talk about the scripting data because I hate it. I don't like the scripting data in these games. It's so primitive and, like, just to make, like, a character move, you've got to make it go, right, motion, move X, motion, move whatever, and then you got to give it the exact number. But the thing is, you've got no way of visually seeing what it's doing unless you're running it in the engine. So it's like, well, I don't know what the hell it's doing. Is that going to work correctly? Is that cutscene going to work? This is why I don't like fiddling with SCD, and I'm rambling, but that's the point. Let's just get this done. Oh, bloody hell. Right. I ramble a lot. I ramble about all the pitfalls of SCD and SCA. I ramble about this sort of stuff because people think it's easy, and it's bloody not. It's quite the opposite. It's infuriating. And this is, like I say, when I start losing the will to live most of the bloody time. Not with the 3D stuff. The 3D stuff's fine for me, but anything bloody else, it's like, nope, not doing it. You can't make me do it. You'll never make me do it. Blah, 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 blah. Thing is, I can't move this, and I still don't know why, considering this is supposed to be, like, using the starting area boundaries for, like, scenario A, why that big bit's there. Because you don't have an enemy climbing anywhere. So I'm just going to leave that one for this and then carry on with the other things. So, right, I want to be able to add more cubes in because I need to get those areas blocked up. But I can just probably use the rest of these, which is good. But for, like, the curved ones, I'm going to have to, like, rebuild them. So I'll be showing you how I do them in a minute. In, obviously, proximity to these tools that I've got. So I'm going to scale this definitely widths and depths. Put that there. Push that back a little bit because you want it just like that. And then again, like that. And then like that. And again, these can collide. They don't have, like, a horrible thing where it's like, oh god, you can't have that colliding there. What the hell are you trying to do to me? They work. They allow to be, like, completely and utterly, like, collided with each other. It's just if you try and drag them off screen, off this game space here, and try and, like, load it into level, it will crash the game because everything has to be in that game space, collisions or not. But the funny thing is about that engine, if your character literally runs off one end, it's like Pac-Man, you run on the other end, you come out the other end, and it's like, yeah, you could probably utilise that and make a very obscure version of Pac-Man in the Resident Evil engine, if you really wanted to. And I don't mean the new RE engine, I mean the old ones. Would be fun to see. Now, I've never actually seen what happens if an enemy goes from one end to the screen to the other. I don't know if anything happens, like, in regards to that. Never did find that out. Would be fun to find out, though. That one could be used there in the centre for that bit. So there's that done. So I'll cover that bit. And that collision there. Is that... There is one there, isn't there? There's like a... Yeah. Let's just carry on these. Definitely going to have to use some duplications of these in a minute. And this is where the fun part will begin. He says the word fun like it actually is fun. Oh, well, I'm glad I'm back doing these things. Because I know I've been really busy trying to get, the Resident Evil 3 Visitor project finished. And that's done finally. It's just some additional rooms I have to do for that. But I'm going to take a break. I've deserved it. I've bloody done 6 years of that bloody project. So, take a break and carry on doing another Resident Evil bloody project. I'm a bloody glutton for punishment, mate. Right. I'll probably use that last one, then I'm going to have to do a duplication. Scale that in. Ooh, right. So it's going to go there. That's fine. Right, so like I said, what I do is I'll highlight this SCA, and then what I do is I go into mesh duplicate special, or is it edit mesh duplicate special? Excuse me. What the hell? Edit duplicate special. And then what that'll do is create me another one, exactly the same. But the issue is now, because I've created this one, is that correct in terms of what it is though? Is it the 10th SCA? Because I'm pretty sure it bloody isn't. So I've got to go looking in SCA. Oh! And I need to get rid of all those containers because we don't need them. Good God. No wonder things start to get laggy. Right, so... No, it's definitely not SCA 010. This is now going to be SCA 21. And then I'm going to rename that to SCA 21 object. Because obviously that's adding to it. That's it. So now I've just basically shown you, how we do just, additional ones and gone over the process for it. Because if you do it the standard way, the duplicating with Maya, it doesn't work. It doesn't accept the new ones because it's using different IDs, and then it won't accept it in general because that's just how picky the bloody engine can be. Oh dear. Right. So, I see I had one more block collision there to that section there. Let's see. Right, so I'll do that in a minute. What I'm going to do is just make another duplication. So 21 was the highest. So again, edit, duplicate the special. That gives me SCA 22 now, but I need to do an adjustment there. Give me a second. So that's going to go up there behind there. So SCA 22. So I need to name that to SCA 22 object, so that it knows it's referring to this one. I need to adjust, not the depth, I need to adjust the width on this one. That's it. So that's done. That's colliding with that. That's done there. Let's have a look what I've got left to work with. I think I've done everything. That's got bits there. That's got bits there. It's got a bit behind that one. They've got bits behind that one. So the only thing I've got left to do are these tables and chairs. So what I'm going to do is obviously duplicate a lot of these, but I also need to rename these. So again, SCA 23 says 17. That's it. So I'm just going to put that one there. Do another one. So that is going to become SCA 24. Like so. Duplicate that special again. That's going to become SCA 25. And then finally I'm just going to duplicate this one as well. So that's going to become SCA 26. So why is it gone all doolally? Hang on, let me just check these. Not 24, 25, 26, but that should be SCA 26, shouldn't it? Not 026, because then it won't bloody register it. That's it. So that can go where that table is, like so. And that's all the collision data done for this room. So you can see what I mean, like how out of all of these, I've still got like these in. So they're just like ones that can be, you know, discarded, whatever. But all the core collision data that the game uses is now in place. That represents obviously the room data for when these angles and all the renders are put in. So that's basically, you know, how custom rooms are built. That's how the old Resident Evil engine interprets the data. Nothing like these new age engines were working. And that's basically the gist of it. That's that room finished. That's ready for it to go in, to be tweaked, to modified, to be adjusted. Mass data needs to be implemented. Enemies need to be put in. Block data needs to be put in. Everything needs to be put in on that. But I don't have to worry about any of that. I just have to build. So I'm going to probably press on with the next room now. Let's just see what I can do. Let's see where we should go next. Let's have a look. Let's bring the map up. Bloop. Okay. So we'll just finish this one here. See, I could do those bathrooms because, again, I've already got the data, like the rooms built for the previous area on the west side, so I could easily just nick stuff from there, but at the same time, I don't really want to be doing that. So I don't want to be doing the piano room, and I sure as hell do not want to start doing that bloody stage area. That'd drive me insane. I suppose I could start looking at the item shop. It is an item shop. It sells shop. It's a shop. It sells stuff. Or I could do the corridor. But that would mean having to match up with like that industrial section. Which has no colour. It's just very boring looking. Even the bloody floor's boring. What kind of bloody floor is that? Well, that helps, doesn't it? What's that supposed to be, anyway? Oh no, I'm looking into things too much now. Oh! Well, that's clearly the floor, but what the Right, let's not jump the gun here. Let's not go mad. Let's not go baying for the blood of crazy people. I really should just build that corridor. But the problem is there isn't really much I can use because it looked like that. And that's just like, what is it? It's like painted metal with some god-awful looking bloody dot matrix bloody floor. I mean, what the hell was supposed to work with that? Oh dear God, I don't know. You know what, sod it, we'll go to the shop. I'm doing the shop. I'm not even going to try and push it. No, let's just make my life easy. Thank you very bloody much. Right, let's do it that way. Right. That room's finished. So what I'm going to do is start a new one now. So a new scene. I'm starting from scratch. So I should have really exported that boundary data. I'll get that actually. Right. I'll tell you what else I'm going to do, just to make my life so much bloody easier. Not the render, not the UV texture editor, I'm not doing that. Right, so SCA's data. I'm just going to put that all on one layer. Got SCA. And then restrict it. So now I can't bloody do something stupid like grab it and then... Right. So that's all the boundary data in it. Oh, excuse me. Right. That's fine because I only need it for the outer shell just to get that thing to be the size it should be. So I'm just going to call this 2F eastbound. Be plumed. Okay, fair enough. I'll do it that bloody way. Right, export. Ooh, hang on. Well, I don't give it the default Lambert. I don't want to be piddling around with texture offsets and stuff. It's saying, oh, well, this texture isn't here. Ooh. So just give me the standard Lambert on it. Perfect. Export that. Assets. This is 2F eastbound. I know it's a new scene. No, not an open scene. New scene. No. New scene. That's it. Right. So what I'll do now is I'll just import that data that I just said. What did I import it as though? Oh, it wasn't FBX. That ain't too bad then because, yeah, that's fine. So as you can see, this is me just using it to position it. So again, I'll just get the game space in. And then obviously clamp that down in a layer so I don't touch that. Excuse me. Okay. So the good news is I can fit the shop in there. Add that to its own layer, so I'll just call that 2F East Hallbound. What do you mean invalid? Oh, because it can't start with a number. Well, then I'll just say second. Oh my god, mate, what a bloody... And this is why no one uses, like, oilier versions of Maya anymore. So this is going to be the shop, isn't it? So I'll just call it 2F shop, because that's what it is. That's what it literally is. You can see it in the bloody... You can see it there. It's definitely a shop. Why there's only one shop, though, I'll never know. You'd at least need multiple on a ship that big, but that's just me speculating. Right. Rambling aside, let's get this bloody... Right, let's get this room built. So, I'm going to do a cube. And because it's obviously fitting in the game space, I'm just going to fill this in. I'll fill it to there because I can just do adjustments as I go. And then I just need to push that up. And I just need to push this down because again, oh dear. That's right. Right, best we could do in this situation, grab it by point and then just drag. That's it. Then I know it's in the right position. Right, so then what I'm going to do, but if I remember correctly in the map, which I'm now going to remove off here because you can't see what the bloody hell I'm doing, that goes further out, doesn't it? Because it's got to fit with the back of those toilets. And this is when you realise just how big the space is. This bloody game, and try to translate it into 3D, it's a pain in the backside because there's so much stuff you've got to adjust for. And obviously, game space for these toilets makes the toilets too bloody big. They can have about 5 different bloody toilets in one toilet, according to the guidance scheme of things, and this is when you've got to start adjusting for it. So, this is going to be interesting, isn't it? Because I don't know how big they are going to be, because I know I'm going off that map, but... Right, let me... I'll make an assumption and say they're about that big. That would make more bloody sense, wouldn't it? So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse those normals and then obviously go back face culling on that so I can see inside. And then what I'm going to do is not play it like bloody Gaiden. What the flip it? So just pushed it out, that gives me that nice section there. Do I need that section? No, I'm going a little bit. I would need that bit, wouldn't I? Or would I? Let me think. Because those bits are just going to have the two door parts in. They're going to come in anyway, so they're going to have that part coming off anyway. Yeah, do that. Do that for now. Do that for bloody now. I'm not going mad. Right, let me do... Okay. Just need to... do that there. And then just remove that door. That little bit of the mesh, that's the door frame. That's where the door will go. So now, I can get rid of that boundary. Because I know that that is the definitive boundary space for that. And it fits in the game space perfectly. So that's always a plus my end. So all I'm going to do now is just start slowly building this up. And I'll just call this green bound. So I know it's referring to that one. And then just obviously restrict it because I'm going to be building inside of this now. So now you can see where my issue is now. Because again, you look at the shop and it's like, well, again, we're only seeing one angle from it. And they really do try and make these rooms look smaller and bigger than what they bloody are, don't they? What a goddamn cluster frig I am with this at the minute. You know, again, people seem to think it's easy. We make it look easy, but it's not. It's not in the bloody slightest. It's absolutely insane, the stuff we have to do. Right, I'm going to have to get Barry back in here. Not literally getting back in here, that would be funny, wouldn't it? No, that's too big! Oh, no! No! That's That's the wrong one. It's the wrong one. Oh god. It's like Mega bloody... It's Mecha Barry. He's very pissed off. Let me redo that. I'm going to have to, like, reopen the bloody file. That's just... No, don't save. Oh, good god. Right, let's try that again. We don't want Barry. We want character. Is it called... What did I call it? Is it that one? Yay, there he is. That's the right bloody size. Oh, good god. Yeah, and I've just realised why. Because... Right, so now his feet are in the right position. Perfect. Right, now I can start building it proper. Bloody giant Barry. Swear to god, I have so many goddamn things that happen in these streams. That's the craziest one that's happened this year. And it's only the 9th. Right. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this till. That's a very shallow bloody till, isn't it? So this is using this as a building block. So that's clearly got a little bit there, unless that is stuck at the wall, but that would be stupid, so I'm going to not stick it against the wall. So And it fits that side of the wall perfectly. But then that thing would be there. This is a very tight squeeze, isn't it? How the bloody hell am I going to work with this? Well, I suppose how I could do it is... Let me just pull that up and then just push that there for now. And then bung it down. So those bits are going to be about here. So I suppose what I could do is have it there like that. Slide that in there like that. We're not going to just do it the other way. More than one way to skin a cat though, so the saying goes. So I'm going to put that there like that. That would make a bit more bloody sense. And it fits perfectly in there, but my God is it thin. I need to make it a bit thicker. So I'll just drag that there. God, this is so bloody... Can Barry even breathe in there? I know I can't bloody breathe looking at it, and that's me. Right. Quickly mirror that. Put it about there, because I don't want it against the wall. Could probably put like cleaning supplies in that little gap there. Again, try to look at this and convert it from sprite to 3D. It can be a bit of a pain in the ass. And you can't say it's not. So... So, I mean, you can't really... God, that just looks so uncomfortable back there, though. But that's, like, following what it looks like in the sprites, so... You still got space to move. So that's where you flip the top of that and go in there. I suppose it's... What the hell is on this ship? Like, seriously, what? I've just realised I could use the Attila model for Resident Evil 3 Visited there. So that's one plus, I suppose. And I have to, like, remodel it. God, we could put some very little random Easter eggs in here. I'm going to do that. In fact, I'll probably put a Kinder egg in there just for the shits and giggles, because, you know, Easter eggs and all that. God, I'm terrible at it. Right. That's for later on, though. Let's just carry on blocking this in. So, according to these, there is, I assume, a fridge of some sort. And it goes quite high. What kind of a bloody fridge goes that bloody high? Then again, it's going to be a bit thicker than that, isn't it? So let me just push it out a bit. Not too much though, because I do need it to go into there, because I'm thinking of putting some cleaning supplies in that corner. It's a bit long in it. I think that's like a double. So I might have to like make that size still a little bit more bigger. Not that much. And then I need to duplicate that one across. That needs to be about there, doesn't it? It's about that. See what I mean though, about these rooms looking bigger than they should do. Then when you start actually building stuff, you're like, ooh, well, it's still a little bit too much. So you have to start dabbling and adjusting things until it all works out. Alright, let's have a look. What can I do now? So it's a set of shelves, this. But it's going downwards. But you never see where the shelves actually end because of the walls. So I'm going to spitball this one. Because again, you just don't see stuff. It's like you're having to like... It's about that length from that point to that point. There. Let's put that chunky unit. So that goes down. You can clearly see that going down that side of the wall. But then it vanishes. But I'm going to assume that it just reverts back to that. And then potentially has like a set going across there. That's just what I'm assuming anyway. The thing about block mapping stuff, you start getting ideas of how things should look. It's like I'm not happy with them like being at the perspective of the are, so I might move those into the centre of the room, which just makes it look more like a bloody shop, and then obviously it gives you that advantage of like we could stick an enemy somewhere, and obviously because I'm asking you're not going to see anything, so you'll just dart right round and zombie attack. I shouldn't be giving that away because that's kind of like spoilers. I'm going to have to think of something else now. I mean, this is the sort of mode my brain just goes into it. It's like, yeah, we could put them there, but that'd be boring. I'm going to move them up. So, again, this is all just blocking it out until I start putting, like, stuff physically in. So I'm thinking these need to be repositioned here, which is a little bit different to the offset from the sprite. So then you can have, like, 2 aisles of them. And then 2 aisles of them. Because you don't want that too far up against that wall. But then you don't want that much space. I suppose you could put it like that. Let me have a gander. So there's me running around. I suppose that's alright. Because obviously they're going to be pushed further together. I'm just being a bit crazy person. Yeah, that works. That works out, doesn't it? Yeah, it's just all block mapping. It's like every bloody thing that you do when you're developing stuff. Whether it's like, oh, it's next-gen stuff, or just literally doing room data for this, you need to block everything out so that it all makes some sort of coherent bloody sense. But half the time, it doesn't. And then that's when you start having to, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's when you have to start, like, adding stuff in that wouldn't technically be there. And that's when, you know, crazy stuff happens. Right, so that's going to be obviously flipped up in the render. You see what I mean? It's just a case of, like, building stuff, blocking it out. Ooh, not that bloody rotatey. Oh, dear God. So it's going to be kind of like that, isn't it? Probably not flip it all the way back down, though. I'm just sticking that in there. Yeah, so that's the block mapping phase done. Now let me get the door in. We're going to have to... Well, technically, I can import the door because I have it already done. I just can't remember what it's called. Oh, that's right. Just import a door that doesn't import. Why did it not import? Why did it not? Well, alright then. That one don't bloody work. What did I... Deck door. I think that might be the metal one. Yeah, we don't need that one. That'd be too obscure. Oh, cry, right. Go and get the bloody east hallway door. Main hall door. That's what it bloody is called. Right. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for these. So I'm just going to drag these in here. Drag that there. Call these second floor east hallway beam door frame. What bloody obscure name? Phrase doors. Just export that. Put that in the assets. And then just go bloop, 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 get there, don't save, import. Right, so that's in position. Just need to flip them round, fit that door frame. Done. So you see what I mean, how it's a very tight squeeze there. I need to just shrink this back a little bit. Could probably put something else in that corner, but that's that done. It's the door I wanted. Right. Oh Christ, what was the doorknob side? Oh no. I always loved building them. Until I go a bit mad and then start realising stuff doesn't work correctly. And then I go a bit crazy. But at least that's done. I just need to try and remember which side the bloody doorknob's on now. Save. This is the issue that Capcom did back in the day. They never did keep an eye on which way doorknobs should be, so... Right, so it's facing that way, so I need to flip that one. Right. So if you ever do get a chance to look at some of those old renders, you'll notice that the doorknobs don't match on some of them, because they didn't put them the right way around. Oh god. And I'm not making that bloody same mistake twice, so I'm going to flip that. I remember I made it bigger, didn't I, as well, so I'm going to mesh and mirror geometry. That's on that side, isn't it? And then I'm just going to go... Please tell me I pressed the right command. Oh no! And in terms of these guiding rooms, they really are not fitting the scale perfectly. The amount of adjustments I'm having to actually do, especially when it comes to those bloody toilet sizes and everything else, it's ridiculous. Right. I'm keeping those. I'm getting rid of you. And then I'm going to... Yeah, I remember what happened with this. I need to unlock the normals. Then do that. Then do that. And then that's done. But I also need to scale it up a bit because I know I made this bigger just for this hallway. So just drag that down there and then boost it a little bit. Not too much. Not too much. Right, so that's done. So yeah, we're going to totally fix them. We're not having that. It's already bad enough that the second, like, that doorway there in the render doesn't match where it should do on that thing, so I'm going to have to make like a corridor for that. We're going to make them fit, trust me. It'll make me go all OCD about it otherwise. Those bloody lists will match. We'll do it somehow. He says. Right, that's all blocked. I need to get some camera data in here. I'm going to do that now. Grab a set of cameras and go with it. Ridley. Just a rid data, wasn't it? It's a small room. I won't need as many for that. Let's go 1030. Let's see. Oh, what have I done? That's too many. Oh well, it don't matter. Oh yeah, let's just. How many cameras have we got? 15. Oh, let's have 15 cameras in this small room. That'll work. Cue dramatic angles. Oh god. Right. Let me just dump this in here in front of the door, then we know where it's bloody at, because I don't know what the hell I'm doing now. Put that there. Put it down a little bit more. Okay, I want that just in front of there as you get through the door. And I'm going to just quickly add these to another layer. Because the horrible thing is, when you start working with cameras, especially the way I do it in here, if you try to do like manual adjusts and stuff, and you've got it set up in a separate light panel, and you press the wrong button, it buggers everything up, and then you have to reposition the camera again. Luckily I won't have to worry about it too much with that for this, because I'm not actually following renders. I'm having to rebuild these, but that's a completely different story for a different time. Put my ray tracing on, not my motion blur. What do you think this is? I know you said don't worry about it if the room has more than 15 cameras or anything like that. If it'll use about 7, it'll just modify it and take them out. But I always try and keep like a right amount in, but I just went a little bit mad with that. It's like, oh, can't be that many in this room. Oh, no, wait, it's about 50. Oh, okay. Well, shouldn't be a problem, I hope. Because it's a small room. I don't think I'll get 15 out of it, to be honest with you. But then again, you never know with me. You never know with me. You really don't. I probably will get about 15 bloody cameras out of this. I'm looking at all the little possessions and that are on the bloody door in the shop. Right. Let's do a quick test of this room then with a new render. It's too flat. Right. Oh, that's why. I've not done anything with the light. Quadratic. That's it. And then give me a grey trace. Let's try that again. And then I need to change the colour management. Change that to linear. Done. Right. Let's see. Right, so that's that door in. Right, this is where the fun part begins in terms of putting more cameras in, so let's have a look. Where's camera 1? Wait, which room is 1030? Try to think which old room that is. 1030. Let's have a look in the cameras. Let's see if I can get an idea of which room it was. Nope, can't forget it. Can't figure it out. Don't know why. No, because that's not 1030, is it? I'm rambling. Hopefully I won't hit that 15 limit. I mean, I shouldn't hit the 15 limit because there shouldn't be that many bloody cameras in here. But like I say, I'm a bit of a crazy man when it comes to this. Sometimes. Not always, I'll point out. Not bloody always, but sometimes. Just try a light source there. Or maybe move that across like so. Okay, let's have a look. You might need to push that one back and it should have a different angle, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to. Right, I'll drag camera that way, and then drag this camera back. Put the camera angle up a bit. Let's have a look at that one. Me grab it, push it down a little bit. Have that there. See, that's going to be a problem. But then again, I'm going to flip that all the way back. I'm not going to have it like that. Why would I have it like up there? I'll never bloody know. So that's there. Hinges will be modelled in at a later date, obviously. Yeah. That one looks better now. I think keep going with it. Right, what I'll do now is I'll just quickly close these cameras off a minute. I'm going to model the detail in here. Now the problem is you don't see what these have got in there. You don't know. Well, I suppose if it's going to be going off what little obscurity I can see, it's what, free area, like free area, free shelves. Ugh. So let me just quickly do a quick doolally look at it. That's quite a bloody chunky thing as well, isn't it? And then these are very bloody thin. Why would you have them so thin? Right. That's one. That's two, and then that's three. But let me just go in and scale them correctly. Because I don't think it really matters if one's bigger than the other, but I'm a stickler for keeping everything the right height. That needs to be just adjusted a little bit. And then I just need to move that down a bit. That's about right. And then I'm just going to push them inwards like so. And then that's everything else bloody model as well. That's the fun part of doing stuff like this. Once you've modelled one thing, you've got the other sets and everything else done as well. So, right. And of course I could use that, the building block, so I can get that all the way around, that little thing. And that's done too. Let me just do that now then. So I can get these all in the right position. I love using my templates. So, that's where that is. That's where that is. That is. That is. And where that is. Do. And then I can get rid of that because that's now no longer needed. And then I've just got to do the really thin bloody sides here. That is a good question, isn't it? Are they going to just be continuous on this side, so they just go all the way along? Or are we going to... It doesn't really show, does it? I'm just going to have to, like, spitball it and sort of say they go all the way around like that. Just quickly scale them in. And then just quickly drag them in. Right, so camera zero's there. Have to make another camera down here now, so Camera 001 needs 02 now. Where's 02? Come on, 02. Don't fail me now. There we are. Nope. Yay. This one is actually going to be quite an interesting room. Just realised that. Move that camera over a little bit. That's fine. Definitely going to need to put a light there. Definitely one there. But I might push them down just a little bit more. That's fine. So I'm going to do camera 3 is going down the aisle. So where are we, camera 3? There you are. So I'm going to do that there. Going down this aisle here. And technically now I've got that, I should just really duplicate that and flip it. Have a quick retest of this now. Yeah, it's got everything in that corner there. Need to. I might actually drop the intensity down to 250 in that area. Let's see. That's fine. And then I just want to add one in there. Yeah, that's fine. And then it's just a case of doing the other angles now, isn't it? So that one's down there. So I need to get camera 4. Brilliant. That's it. I suppose we could have that trigger on like 1 and 4 as well as 3 and 4. That just gives you that area outside of it like that, doesn't it? Get you out of the way of the camera, Barry. Just don't want it like down the bloody floor. What the hell's going on there? Give it a bit of an edge. So, just need to put one more light in that corner there. Let's try that. So So I got that light in that corner, got them there. Right, you need to do camera. That'll be camera 5, won't it? So, but I'll have that going that way, so I want to push that to there, but I want to drag that round to there. Right, I'll put that there for now. So obviously that will revert back to that one when it's there. So that should be for cameras for now, but obviously I'll still need to add different cameras here and there, but that's the core stuff done for now. I'm just seeing what else I can do. I could start modelling whatever these bloody flaming fridges are supposed to be. I assume that's what it is. Bloody fridge. Might import me till though, actually. What did I call it? Till mesh. Boop. There it is. We'll have an asset already pre-built and have to worry about it now then. So I just want to rotate that one. Not that way. That would be very obscure. That way. So is that like right on the edge there? Not that much of a gapage, it's like that, isn't it? Right, let's have a gander at it. You don't even see the till. How disappointing. Right. Definitely going to need another angle in here, I think. Right, get me cameras out. Camera 6, where are you? Nope, that's 7's aim. 6's aim's there. Do I really need one then? Can I just like push that one back a bit, I suppose? Let's have a look. Nope. Yay. So it is all tinkering until things work and then it just all fit and it's like, yeah, that's how this should work. Should be alright actually. But I am going to need a close-up if you go behind there, so suppose that camera, which camera was it? 6. It's going to need to be behind this desk anyway. Ooh, not that bloody. Oh yeah, let's look up at the weird at the ceiling. Nothing's there. But let's look up at it. There. Yeah. Right, let's have a look how that looks. That looks fine, it just needs a bit of light on the subject. Nothing too bright though. About there. that'll do. Don't know what's going to be behind there though, because nothing can bloody fit behind it, and that's just going off the bloody spec for that. Crazy is it getting. Right, let's get this model anyway. Right, definitely looks like there's 4 shelves inside there. Let's just look at the bloody sprite. Let's have a look. Doesn't give me like anything to work with, does it? Don't have much space for that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to adjust these. Push that one down. Should be okay. Let's push them in there. No, just push them in. So that's freezer storage anyway. So, to do a quick duplication, drag that in there so I know that's what I'm dealing with. Do need to have another camera in there, just realised. Camera 7. Where are ye? Aha, there you are. Gonna need it in that corner here. I've got camera 4 in that one. We're gonna need that one in this one. And unless I put that one on like ground level and then just kind of like out a little bit, see how it all looks. And render 3 was it? Oh, that works. No, is it 3 that got down there, or is it 5? 5 even. My mistake. Let's have a look at 5. Render 7. I suppose it does work. I mean, it's again, it's all cameras are all work in progress, so you can be adjusted as we see fit. It's just everything position, I suppose. How am I going to do the doors on these bloody things? Let's have a look. There. Right, now it's just a pane of glass, isn't it? So what I'm going to do... Oop. Just do that. Delete one side of that. And then just boop, boop. Merge those vertices like so. No, what's going on here? Done. Right, what I need to do now is get me hypershade up. Nope, that's the outliner, that's the hypershade. So I'm going to need that as a bling. It needs to be transparent, but it doesn't need to have much reflectivity, so I'm going to set that down to 0.100 and then just do that, stick that in. Let's see what that looks like. Can't really tell, King. Oh, what the hell? That don't look too bad, I suppose. Yeah, it's all about tinkering until stuff looks right. So I'm going to be finishing up and I need to go get something to eat. Right, let me have a quick look at what it looks like with my angles up there. Let me have a look. Is it reflecting enough? Or is it just right? Looks like it's alright. Right, that one's got an open door on it, and not that it matters at this precise moment in time whether it's open or not. But let's just try and keep it, obviously. A little bit wider. Let's look at 7 now. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like. Right then. Okay. So, I'm going to finish this stream off now because I need to go get something to eat. So, finished one room, got all the collision data done for that. Started another room, got it all blocked out, starting to model all the detailing now. Getting the cameras implemented, so just carry on streaming with this one. So that'll be, because I do these like a day, then I do something else. So the next time I'll be doing this will be Thursday. I'll try and keep it at the same time as I've been doing, so about 4 o'clock my time. So that's British Standard Time. So yeah, appreciate everybody who's been watching me build these. And I'll see you all in the next stream if I haven't gone mad and started 3D printing this stuff off. And started building like a full-size replica of the Starlight, because that would be fun, wouldn't it?